Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson, and today I'm ecstatic because I think we are finally at a place in Lena De Spell's journey to be able to examine where she came from, how she became independent, and what she's become now that she is no longer a slave for Magica De Spell. Today, we are finally going to discuss Lena's backstory. And of course, if you're new here and you like to solve many mysteries and you enjoy rewriting histories, then consider subscribing to join this wonderful Disney community. Now, while Lena De Spell may have looked like a normal duck, in reality, she was created by the evil sorceress Magica De Spell out of her own shadow, moments before she was imprisoned within Scrooge McDuck's #1 dime. She was made for the sole purpose of bringing about Scrooge's demise. While she had the ability to walk the earth and use the witch's magic, she was also given a life of her own so that she could act independently of Magica while her body was trapped. But even though Lena was made to serve Magica and began her existence summoning her, spying for her, and deceiving everyone, over time Lena would become more than just a shadow slave. Ever since Lena used magic to bring back Magica from the shadows, I was absolutely intrigued by this girl and what she would do in the future. My first ever DuckTales video was attempting to understand that moment, her amulet, and who that shadow woman was, so needless to say, ever since then I've been invested in her story. She wasn't always my favorite character, since she was more edgy, dark, and rebellious than I typically am, but the lore surrounding her and the tragedy that began to unfold as she became accepted by Webby and her family became a storyline I love to see progress. After meeting Webby, the two girls quickly built a bond together, crashing the birthday celebration of Ma Beagle, and Lena gained the trust of Beakley when an adventure within underground tunnels went awry and the Shadow Girls saved Webby's grandmother. Beakley originally believed that Lena was a bad influence on Webby, but she eventually decided that Webby's new friend had a good heart within her, much to Magica's dismay. The sorceress understood that Lena didn't save Beakley for their own selfish reasons, no matter what she claimed. Lena did what was right, which indicated that she would need a lot more coercion if Magica hoped to keep Lena serving her. De Spell was able to tell that Lena was not focused on their true objective and didn't respect the centuries-old blood feud she had towards Scrooge McDuck. The truth was that Lena was beginning to resent the orders given to her and was starting to rebel as she got closer to Webby. This led Magica beginning to seduce the girl with the notion that she would provide Lena with her dark heart's fondest desire when her magic was fully returned, but quickly that was not an intriguing enough idea for the Shadow. While Lena did move towards Scrooge's #1 dime on her first sleepover with Webby by having a cursed jewel be placed within his money bin, she was still unwilling to allow that plot to fully play out. When that jewel used its magic to form a money shark around it, the friends acted against the monster, and through their work to stop the shark, Webby actually taught Lena that there was magic that existed from their friendship. And while Lena initially rejected the new magic that she experienced, she eventually embraced it to save Webby. After that incident, Lena attempted to reject putting her life in danger for a cause she didn't believe in any longer. But that act of defiance only revealed the truth to the young duck. Lena did not have a choice within her life. Lena was controlled by the Queen of Shadows even before that sorceress's powers had returned. Lena's darkest nightmare was beginning to form as she began to fear what would happen if Magica was able to return and threaten the life she was creating. But there was nothing she alone could do to fight against the monster that controlled her, especially after Lena attempted to tell Scrooge the truth about Magica's plots. The sorceress made sure Lena would stop her rebellion by fully possessing her. Magica's darkness had fully captured Lena. As an eclipse approach that would provide Magica the opportunity to fully return, Lena did continue to attempt to free herself from the horrifying shadow that lived within her, but all of her fighting could not stop Magica De Spell from coming back, and when that occurred, the dark sorceress also forced Lena to return to her life within the Shadow Realm. Though it seemed Lena had been lost, her connection to Webby allowed her to protect her best friend when Magica attacked. Lena tried to keep Webby safe, but Magica overwhelmed her creation with her dark magic, which seemed to truly destroy Lena once and for all, but in fact, she survived in Webby's shadow. After that day, when Magica De Spell was fought off by the McDuck family and her powerful amulet was stripped away from her, Lena continued to watch over Webby as she went about her life existing in a parallel shadow world until Webby figured out a way to connect to that realm with the help of her new friend Violet. Together, these two friends were able to reach Lena and use their magical connection with one another to pull Lena back to the world. But even after she returned, there was still darkness that Lena had to fight through. Even though Lena had returned and was now living with Violet's family, there was a part of her that continued to fear that she was destined to fall to evil like the sorceress who had created her, and almost joined Magica in her dreams when her friends seemed to turn against her. But luckily, this trap by Magica De Spell to steal her magic from Lena failed due to her friends binding together to save her from the sorceress's control. Again, friendship was the key to saving Lena, and that power would truly be understood and unlocked when she was being hunted down by the Phantom Blot. This being was on the search to steal Magica De Spell's magic, and since Lena was the one who was carrying the amulet that held her powers, Lena's life was threatened because she was made of magic. With the knowledge that the Phantom Blot would come for her, Lena and her friends went to Magica in hopes that she would be able to show them how to fight back against this dangerous foe and master her wild magic. Fearing the Phantom Blot herself, Magica did instruct Lena on how to use magic like she did. But when the villain found Lena, she was unable to use the amulet to stop him. She tried to use her hatred towards Magica against her enemy, but it was futile to the magic-stealing gauntlet device that had been constructed to defeat Magica De Spell. It's only when Lena channeled the magic within herself was she truly able to fight back. By using her experiences with her friends as the source of her strength and her desire to persevere, was she able to strike against this foe. And even though on her own she still struggled to overcome the Phantom Blot, because of her friends further empowering her, she was able to transform and unleash her super sorceress outfit because she had reached the full breadth of her powers. Lena rose, sent a massive blast of magic into the Phantom Blot's gauntlet and destroyed the device. The Phantom and Sorceress is the episode in DuckTales that is the culmination of Lena's journey thus far, and it was a fantastic episode to see after a long break from DuckTales. I don't know about you, but the zany action, ludicrous lore, and wild humor in the show is pretty much exactly what I need right now, and it felt so good to see someone who was tortured, abused, and unloved finally getting the chance to rise. Lena's friends had saved her once again, and now she was going to be able to forge a path for herself where she would no longer be controlled by Magica.
I'm not in your shadow anymore. This magic is my legacy now, and I'm gonna use it for good.
Lena has finally moved past her dark place. She may have been created for an evil purpose and was raised to be a monster, but because of the people who befriended and supported her and showed her love, we got the uplifting story that showed that she was able to become so much more than a shadow slave. Now she was a good sorceress who was compassionate, powerful, and free. Fun people, I hope you enjoyed the return of the third season of DuckTales like I did. I know I was excited to see Lena come back in a big way, but what has been your favorite part of the show so far this year? Also, make sure to subscribe and click the beautiful bell, and then click on another magical video in the description or on the screen. Finally, thank you to my patrons, thanks for watching, and have a magical day.